Hey guys, welcome back. Today on The Untidy Artist, we are making polymer clay flowers and mushrooms. These are cute little decorations that you can add to any terrarium or moss garden or fairy garden. And these are made out of polymer clay. Polymer clay is a moldable clay that you can bake in the oven and it hardens up beautifully, and you can do lots of fun things with it. So let's grab some supplies and get started. The first thing you're going to need is obviously some polymer clay. Now it does come in a lot of different brands. My favorite brand is probably the Sculpey. It seems to work best for me. It comes in many different colors. I found the best way to buy it was at Michael's. With a coupon, I bought one of the multicolored packs, and it gave me a lot of fun options for colors. There are also some that come iridescent, some that come with glitter. Then you're going to need some tools. I have a few different tools here that I bought, but you can also use things around the house. A knife, a toothpick, a bamboo stick, or a bamboo skewer, and you can just anything that's going to give you a little bit of texture. So I've got some toothpicks right here and a bamboo skewer, and you can see the tip on that would help to create some texture. And then I've also got some head pins. These are used in jewelry making, and we're going to use these to attach to the bottom of our mushrooms so that they will stick in our terrarium. So they're called head pins. These were 2-inch head pins, and I bought them in a big pack. I'll also be using some translucent liquid Sculpey, and I've got some acrylic paint here to do some little polka dots on top of our mushrooms, and a piece of foam and a needle, and this is going to help us put our little polka dots on our mushrooms. And with that said, let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is grab a little piece of clay, and you want to soften it up a little bit, and I do that by just rolling it around in my hand. And we are going to create the base for our mushrooms. So then I just take my hand and we're going to roll it into a snake. And you want it, depending on how big you want your mushrooms to be, I'm going to make a few at a time, and I like to roll enough out to be able to just cut slices of this off. So you can see it's a little bit bigger in diameter than my ring is. And in between, I like to wipe my hands off so that I don't get whatever color of clay I was working with on my next color of clay. So then I'm going to do the exact same thing with my red clay. I'm just going to roll it out into a snake, and you want the red to be thicker than the yellow. So I'm going to take my red and I'm going to cut off a little piece of it, and this is going to be the top of our mushroom. And I'm going to roll it into a ball and then kind of flatten it between my finger, so it kind of looks like a squished circle. And then I'm going to put it down on my table and kind of move it around between my fingers to create more of a triangle look. And then I'm going to grab my toothpick or my bamboo skewer, and I'm going to put a hole in the middle of it. And this is going to be where we're going to put the stem. So here I've got a toothpick. I just press the toothpick into it a little bit, not all the way, and kind of twirl it around until I have a hole in the middle. Then I'm going to grab a little piece of the yellow. I'm going to roll that out a little bit more. You want it to be pointy on one end and more flat on the other end. So almost like a little unicorn horn. You can see I've got it pointy on one end and it's still round but flattened on the other end. And then you're going to stick the round part into your mushroom, into the little hole you made in the mushroom. And ta-da! You have a little mushroom. They're so cute. They're a lot of fun to do in a lot of different colors as well. Now, if you want to put a head pin in them so they're easier to place in your terrarium, before you insert the base of the mushroom into the top of the mushroom, you're going to push a head pin into it gently. You don't want to push it all the way through. And you'll see that there is some space where the head pin goes. You're going to go ahead and push it into the top of the mushroom. And then we're going to fill in that little space where the head pin created an opening, because we don't want the head pin to fall out. So you can either do that by taking some more of your yellow clay and kind of pressing it down in there. I found that using the liquid polymer clay works really well. And then I'm going to put them in my oven. You want to look, it will tell you on whatever brand of clay you're using, it'll tell you how long to cook it for and at what temperature. And then to paint them, once they're baked and hardened and nice and dry, I'm going to grab my white paint And by pressing the mushroom into the styrofoam and then using the top of the pin to create the little polka dots, it makes it really easy to paint these. And I kind of just randomly place the little polka dots on my mushroom. And that's it. You can see we have this whimsical little mushroom to put in a fairy garden. The next thing we're going to make are these 4-petaled flowers. So I'm going to grab a piece of whatever color I choose to do my flower with. And once again, I'm going to roll it out into a snake. So just a long, thin piece, and you want to make sure it's all evenly rolled out. And you can see it's about the same size as my ring. So fairly thin. And then I'm going to cut it into 2 even pieces, and you can see it's kind of flattened on one end. I'm going to gently pat that down. We don't want it to be in a point necessarily. We do want to smooth out the tip of it. Then I'm going to create an X. And then using this tool, you could also use a toothpick, I'm going to press down from the center the piece that I laid over the top, and then I'm going to do the opposite 2 sides. So you're moving from the center and just kind of gently pushing out, and what this does is it presses it all together so you have a little flower. And then I'm going to take a little round tool, once again you could use a toothpick for this part, and create a little circle in the very center. I'm going to take a teeny tiny piece of yellow, make a little ball, kind of press that down, and then so this is what you've got so far. Then using my little round tool, I'm going to press that into the center. And ta-da, you have a little flower. They're very easy to make. Now you can also do a 6-petal flower. And to do that, obviously you're going to roll out your color for your flower, and then instead of cutting 2 pieces, we're going to cut 3. And then I kind of round off the edges a little bit, and I'm going to create an X. And then I'm going to take my last piece, so I have my X, and then I'm going to take my last piece and place the X on top of that piece. This seems to work better and give you a prettier flower. And then once again, I am pressing all of the sides down from the center. And this kind of creates a flower pattern in the center of your flower and attaches everything together. And I'm just going to go over it with this little tool again and kind of define it more. Put my little dot in the center, roll out a little piece for the middle of my flower, press that down, and using my little round tool or a toothpick, I press it down in the center. You can also go back and add a little bit of texture to the outer parts of the petals if you'd like, and you have a 6-petaled flower. Now, last but not least, I'm going to make these little blossoms, and these are really easy to make, and they're really fun to sprinkle in a fairy garden or in a terrarium for little pops of colors. So you just take 2 colors. I'm going to take the color I want for the base of my flower and roll it into a little ball. And then I'm going to take the color I want for the middle of my flower and obviously roll that into a smaller ball. And then I'm going to take a toothpick or this little bamboo skewer and press a hole into the center of it, take my little circle for the middle and place it right over the top, and then press it down with my bamboo skewer to press it into the other clay, and you have a little blossom. These are really fast and easy to make. To make this one with the little leaf, all I did is take a little piece of green and I kind of rolled it into a teardrop. So it's pointy on one end and rounded on the other, and then I just took my finger and gently pressed that down. And with my toothpick, I added a little bit of texture to it to make it look more like a petal, and then I just gently pressed them together. So from the back, I just pressed the 2 clays together. And this gives me a little flower with a leaf. So now we have a 6-petaled flower, a 4-petaled flower, and a little tiny blossom that you could do with a leaf if you'd like. And I love to decorate little moss gardens with these. I also like to decorate my fairy gardens with these. I do have a fairy garden tutorial coming soon. And I just think they add a really fun pop of color without spending a lot of money. So you can also decorate, you can add the flowers and the mushrooms together, or for this one I liked the idea of just putting the mushrooms in it. I liked the pop of the red and yellow against the green moss. It just looks like a very whimsical place that a fairy might live, and I loved how these turned out. I've really enjoyed putting together these whimsical little gardens, and I look forward to my fairy garden tutorial that's coming up. If you haven't already checked out my other terrarium tutorials, I do have one where I use cactus and succulents, and then I have a tropical terrarium. I did both of these tutorials about a year ago, and all of my terrariums are thriving beautifully. You can also check out my moss garden tutorial. If you have any comments or questions, please post those below. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. That would be fantastic. And if you enjoyed this tutorial, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Thanks so much, you guys, and we'll see you next time.